I've always been transparent about my use of anabolic steroids, and there's a clear reason for that. When we look at social media, we see two very distinct scenarios. There are those who use and encourage others to do the same, and there are those who obviously use but deny it to the public. Anyone in this world knows exactly who's using or not. So, let's start by making one thing clear. I'm completely against promoting the use of anabolic steroids or encouraging others to use them. Yes, it's undeniable that steroids can amplify the results of someone who trains intensely. But the problem lies in selling this idea as if it's something purely positive. We're witnessing a real epidemic of teenagers giving into these products, all because they're being influenced by figures they admire. First and foremost, it's essential to understand that we're talking about drugs. They can cause damage to the body, and what many influencers are selling is the false idea that there's no problem, that your physique will look amazing, and that's it. Many athletes and influencers even go as far as including links in their profiles to make it easier to buy these products. I admit that in the past, when I was competing, I did this too. The justification I told myself was, it's better that people buy from a reliable source than from a questionable one. My main concern was always to ensure that those who followed me had access to the best the market could offer. But today, my perspective has changed. I no longer think it's right to encourage this kind of purchase. I'd rather keep recommending brands and products that I trust. And since we're on the subject, we're open to sponsorships, laughs. And speaking of that, if you like what I do and want to support the channel, become a member. Your contribution is small, but makes a huge difference in keeping our content alive. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. That way, YouTube knows this content is relevant, and you won't miss any of the upcoming videos. Now, let's get to the point. For those who aren't familiar, the vast majority of substances used for aesthetic purposes come from an underground market. This means that these substances are produced in clandestine labs, without any type of regulation or quality control. These places don't follow the safety standards required in legitimate productions, which significantly increases the risk of contamination. Moreover, we're talking about products that already carry a significant list of negative effects on the body. Now, imagine combining these inherent risks with the real possibility of consuming something adulterated or contaminated. This not only amplifies the health risks, but also endangers the physical and mental integrity of those using these products. And even so, it's a fact that many who use these substances are honest about their use, which at least brings some transparency regarding the consequences of their choices. However, there's much more to consider on this topic. Now let's address those who deny using anabolic steroids, even when everyone behind the scenes knows they're using. Here, two situations stand out, and both are harmful in their own way. First, when someone denies using, they can create an illusion for their followers. A regular viewer, someone who isn't involved in the world of bodybuilding or competitions, might look at that person's physique and think, I can achieve that body too, just by following a strict routine of training, diet, and rest. This is a dangerous illusion that can lead to immense frustration. Imagine dedicating hours to training, following a strict diet, meticulously caring for your rest, and still not being able to achieve the idealized physique. This not only discourages, but can lead to a desperation that makes many seek equally dangerous shortcuts. On the other hand, if this person decides to admit they use anabolic steroids, they risk encouraging others to follow the same path. We live in a time where digital influence is powerful, and the word of an influencer carries immense weight. When someone with a large following admits to using substances to achieve a certain physique, many feel tempted to do the same without considering the consequences. I was once asked about this dilemma in a conversation. So, what's the deal? If someone uses and doesn't talk about it, they mislead others, creating false expectations and causing frustration. If they use and admit it, they end up promoting the use. This creates a situation where there's no simple way out. It's a delicate issue that demands responsibility from those in a position of influence. In the end, it's necessary to find a balance between honesty and raising awareness about the risks involved. Yes, I use anabolic steroids. Not only do I use them today, but I've also used them for a long period during my career, which spans over 10 years as a bodybuilding athlete. I use them extensively, and I can say with full authority, it's not good for you. I know what I'm talking about because I lived it intensely. So why have I decided to almost completely stop using them today? Well, it's simple. Although I still use testosterone as part of hormone replacement therapy, my approach has changed drastically. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I could easily say I don't use it since my testosterone levels are close to those of someone who doesn't use exogenous hormones. But the truth is, I believe in transparency, and that's exactly what I want to share with you now. The truth will be in your hands, and from there, as an adult, you'll use your judgment to decide which path to follow. It's crucial for you to understand one thing. Any substance you introduce into your body will have negative effects, and this is an undeniable fact of pharmacokinetics. When you mess with something in your body, adverse results will inevitably arise. There's no way around it. Even something as simple as dipyrone can cause a slight drop in blood pressure and induce drowsiness. Every drug, without exception, triggers some type of negative response. And when we talk about anabolic steroids, which are drugs used to improve body aesthetics, these side effects are guaranteed. It's a certainty, not a possibility. You are not an exception to the rule, the so-called golden child, who won't experience any side effects. The illusion that nothing's going to happen, I'm using it and everything's fine, is dangerous. Maybe in the first days or weeks, you won't feel anything. Perhaps in the first month, everything seems under control. But don't be fooled. Eventually, something will happen. Whether it's a hormonal imbalance, an impact on internal organs, or a consequence you can't yet predict, the negative effects will arise. And that's precisely why it's so important to be aware of all the risks before making any decision related to using these substances. Your body is your responsibility, and the choices you make today will impact your future. So, make this decision consciously, knowing that there's no magic solution free of risks. Second point, steroids by themselves don't work miracles. They act as amplifiers, enhancing the results of those who are already on the right path. I know many people who use them and still don't achieve great results, while others, who have never touched steroids, manage to build impressive physiques. What's the difference? The person, the effort, dedication, consistency in training, diet, and sleep. These are the factors that truly determine success. If you train correctly, you'll get results. If you train and use steroids, the results will be amplified. And if you combine training, diet, and proper rest, the progress can be impressive, even without using any substances. I can speak with authority because I observe students who follow our training naturally, and they evolve incredibly. Why? Because every detail is strategically planned, from nutrition to rest. And of course, there are those who don't follow everything to the letter. But for those who do, the results appear. Now, if you add anabolic steroids to this equation, yes, the results will be even faster and more evident. Steroids enhance what you're already doing, but it's important to emphasize that they don't replace hard work. Something I see happening frequently is the use of steroids as a tool to change behaviors. I've seen this countless times, especially when I was competing and giving personal training sessions. I was in the trenches observing closely what people were doing, and I saw how some were training inadequately, eating poorly, and constantly going out to parties suddenly decided to do a cycle of steroids at the end of the year. And then, miraculously, they started training seriously, took care of their diet, stopped going out, quit drinking, and focused on sleep. The person who was previously doing everything wrong, by adopting a disciplined routine, began to see great results. But what led to this change in behavior? It was the use of steroids. It's easy to associate progress with the use of these substances, but the truth is that the significant change came from the commitment to a proper routine. The steroid might have been the trigger, the catalyst that made the person align all the important aspects of their life. Consistent training, balanced diet, adequate rest, but it's crucial to understand that the real engine of progress was this change in habits. And, of course, the result appears, and many end up associating this success solely with the use of steroids when, in reality, it's the combination of all these factors that drives physical transformation. Now, let's tackle a crucial issue. Why do so many people, at various times, choose to say they don't use steroids? Imagine the following situation. You're training intensely, rigorously watching your diet, paying attention to rest, and you start seeing the fruits of your labor. Then someone approaches you and says, that physique is only like that because of the juice, referring to steroid use. Suddenly, all your hard work, all the discipline and effort seem to lose their value. To this person, the credit for your physique boils down to the use of substances, not your hard work. This type of thinking stems from laziness and often envy. It's not hard to understand why some people prefer not to admit to using steroids. When someone acknowledges they use, the immediate response is, you're only like that because you use. But the reality is quite different. If someone has a great physique, the credit belongs to them, regardless of steroid use. The best you can do is admire the result, congratulate the effort, and, if appropriate, ask how they achieved it so you can learn and apply it to your journey. But what if they use? If they use, it doesn't change anything. Steroids enhance the results, but they don't replace the effort. If the person has an amazing physique, it's because they worked hard for it, even if they use substances. If they hadn't paid attention to diet, training, and rest, they wouldn't have that impressive physique. It's time to stop diminishing others' achievements by associating negative labels with what they've accomplished. If someone is doing well, whether through natural effort or with the help of steroids, the credit is entirely theirs. If you also dedicate yourself to training, nutrition, rest, and sleep, you will inevitably see impressive results. You'll build a physique that will undoubtedly be a source of pride and admiration from many people around you. Now, if you choose to go further and decide to use steroids, be aware that this will require even more dedication. You'll have to keep doing everything you already do to maintain the physique you've built, and the results will be amplified. Your physique will improve even more, but the price to pay will be high, and you'll need to be prepared for that. The choice is yours, and the responsibility for the results is also yours. What's important is that, regardless of the choices you make, they are made consciously, with the certainty that the credit will always be due to your effort and dedication. As a friend of mine often says, you pay for aesthetics with your health. And that statement couldn't be more accurate. There's another crucial point to mention. The physique you achieve with the use of steroids is, in reality, a rented physique. It will only be present as long as you're using these substances. The moment you stop or reduce usage, you'll start noticing the decline. I speak from experience. I went from a physique of 120 kilograms, 264 pounds, down to 100 kilograms, 220 pounds. That 120 kilograms physique wasn't really mine. It was borrowed, and that loan was charging me a very high price, both physically and mentally. Today, I'm no longer willing to pay that price. I look at my current physique, which is much smaller than it once was, but I see a healthier body, a more balanced mind, and a much better life expectancy. This is a physique that I value much more today. But here's the thing. If I compare myself to the physique I had 3 or 4 years ago, the contrast is huge. And this is something that many need to understand. When you compare your natural physique with someone who's using hormones, there's no real comparison. Once again, the choice is yours. I'm all about information and truth. I'm here to speak my mind, share what I believe and what I've studied. My hope is that you are mature enough to use your judgment and make an informed decision. I know that in some way, I end up influencing you, but I ask that you bring reason into this decision. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who will pay the price and no one else. Now, I want to know your opinion. What do you think about the topic we discussed in this video? How do you view this approach to training and nutrition? Do you think that if others followed this same approach, they could achieve the results they desire? Leave your opinion here in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about this. And of course, don't forget to share this video with your friends who need to see this content. Oh, and before you go, don't forget to give that like, because it really helps with visibility and motivates me to keep bringing videos like this to you. See you next time.